please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
All right, those are our top stories. It's time now to welcome our two experts on your stocks, Sharmila Joshi and Rajat Bose, join in to answer all the queries that are coming in from our viewers. So good afternoon to both of you. And our first query is from Shashi B, who has written in from New Delhi. So he says he holds 45 shares of TCS, which he has bought at 1840 for just about a month ago. He's a long-term investor and wants to know what he should do. So Sharmila, first I want your advice on a long-term investor who's already seeking advice in the first month of his investment. I mean, he's bought a blue-chip marquee company. What do you think would make him want to wonder about the fate in just 1 month?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of strange, and when the company has a buyback, which was at 2100, I think we are past the record date now. But you could have tendered in there if there was any doubt in your mind that the stock wouldn't go up. So yes, but I think, just let's take the query at face value and say that I don't see any harm in holding on to the stock. The results are today. You may see a bit of a reaction because typically some of these larger IT stocks do tend to react, when numbers are declared. But I think in the long run, these things don't really matter. And honestly, I mean, they've been really over the last year or so, they've really delivered a good set of numbers, and I expect that to continue. So let's wait till evening and hear what the management has to say. But yes, I think they are on a strong wicket, and if you're a long-term investor, you should certainly stay invested.
All right, Rajat, your view on TCS? He's a long-term investor. Within a month, he's gained about 30-40 rupees from his purchase price. The stock has been a big mover just in the last few months, as well as since the start of 2018. What would you suggest?
See, Mangalam, what I would like to say is this, that this is a stock in which short-term, medium-term and long-term trends, all three trends are up. The kind of trendiness that it is showing would be exemplified by the fact that since 6th of June, it has taken support at its 13-day exponential moving average, and it continues to do so and not falling below that. What I have chosen as a stop, my stop loss for this gentleman is 1700, which is the 89-day exponential moving average level. This was tested last in April and before that in December. So the major supports are actually characterized by a taste of the 89-day moving average. So I would suggest continue to hold it, and 89-day can be used as a stop loss. Now it is at 1700, but from your channel the person can easily get the 89-day levels progressively, so that should be continued as a stop loss, and it should continue.
All right, so hang in there with the target, with the stop loss place at 1700. That's the word coming in from Rajat. Sharmila says hold on for the long term as far as TCS is concerned. Let's move on to the next one. Madapa Jirj calls us from Pune with a query. Madapa, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm holding Apex Frozen, 92 shares. 257 at the rate of 257. Can I hold this for a long time?
You bought it very recently, Madapa?
No, while IPO release.
Okay, so you bought it from the IPO, so you're sitting on a bit of a drawdown because the stock, I remember, had gone to around 850 rupees odd as well, right?
Yeah, correct.
All right, and you're a long-term investor?
Yeah.
Sharmila, your view on Apex Frozen Foods and the whole space?
So actually, as you're saying, the whole space is in a bit of an issue because you've heard sort of commentary from the US in terms of shrimp feed, etc., and that's the the business the company is in. So I think that's the news you need to track. I do think that both, I mean, the high prices that these stocks went, that was also a pretty very elevated level, because I think at that time there was this double positive, that there was some positive commentary for frozen, especially shrimp food in the budget, as well as the fact at that time numbers were strong. And since then things have turned, not just for mid caps as a space, but a lot of these momentum stocks, and especially there has been negative commentary for shrimp culture. So rather US taxes, etc., and the barriers could go up for companies who are exporting to US, and typically that is the market that these companies cater to. So I would say wait for a quarter or two more and see how the results pan out, whether they start showing this pain, and then what kind of a reasonable valuation you get. But for the moment, I think for me, the stock is a hold.
All right. And Rajat, you're going with the sell call on Apex Frozen?
Actually, Malappa is in profits. I mean, its first day of listing was 9th of April. 4th of September 2017, when it was listed around 212 rupees closing price. So I take it that he is still in the money and considerably in the money, despite the fact that it has had a major downtrend right from 900 odd levels. So I would still suggest a sell because it's in a strong downtrend and there is no sign that it is actually going to turn around right now, and there is no sign of any technical reversal either. So if I were in his shoes, I would have definitely taken profits even here. Although I have missed, he would have missed a lot of money by not selling at an earlier date. But even then, right now, he should take his profits and switch to something else.
All right, take your profits and switch to something else. That's the word coming in on Apex Food. Mr. KK Malik, rice source from Bengaluru, holds 1,000 shares of RCF at 100 rupees for the last 9 months. Long-term investor wants to know whether to hold or sell. Sharmila, for RCF, everyone keeps talking about the Chembur land. The person is sitting on some losses.
Well, you know, honestly, I'm not too much in favor of holding a company because you're expecting, you know, some real estate development to work in its favor. So, you know, I think there has to be some support from the valuation for the business as well. And I think that there are better fertilizer companies even to be invested in. So unless, you know, the outlook is this real estate deal and when you're expecting it to pan out, then I think you can continue to stay invested. But I think if it's just the fertilizer business that you're looking at, the stock is, I think, decently valued and you should look to exit.
All right, well, that's the word on RCF. Well, there's some news flow coming through. Today is the last day for bid submission for the 9th round of the city gas distribution license auctions, and we learned from sources that Reliance Industries will also be bidding for a city gas distribution license in a joint venture with Bharat Petroleum. Anshu Sharma joins in with the details on that one. Anshu.
Hello.
Anshu, go ahead.
That's right. We understand that today is the last date for city gas distribution bids to be submitted, and we understand that OMCs, HPCL, BPCL, IOC have bid aggressively, and this is because they want to maintain their distribution in cities for PNG and CNG. Sources also indicate that 10 new companies have shown interest in city gas distribution in 86 geographical areas, and we understand these are new companies apart from the OMCs we have mentioned. Some 80 cities have seen single bid, and over 60 cities have seen multiple bids. We understand that allocation of these geographical areas will be done before schedule, which is October. Sources indicate that it may happen in September if all the bids are verified by 12th to 18th of July. We also understand from agencies that RIL will be bidding for city gas-based distribution with BP. Back to you.
All right, Anshu, thanks a lot for that. We will keep an eye out on that, but just watch out for some news coming in. The Allahabad High Court has postponed the hearing and deferred the hearing with regards to the power NPA case but up until July 17th or 18th was the number that I read. Yes, July 17th to 18th. So that is when they will next hear the case. They were supposed to hear it today, and this is with regards to the Independent Power Producers Association writing and writing with regards to the banks recognizing weak assets or NPAs in the power sector with regards to the RBI circular that came by on 12th February. So we will watch out for that. As of now, the news that has come by is that the Allahabad High Court has postponed this hearing to July 17th and 18th. With that, we'll slip into a short break, come back, focus on some more stocks and queries as we return.
Hi, welcome back. You're watching Your Stocks. Our next query comes in from Ravindra Kumar, who calls in from Vishakhapatnam. Hi, sir. How can we help you?
Hello.
Hi, sir. Go ahead. What's your question?
I have 1,000 shares of Dwarikesh Sugar at the rate 55 rupees, madam.
Okay. And clearly you're making a big loss, so you're a worried investor. Are you investing for the long term? I mean, what was your rationale behind this stock pick?
Long term, madam.
Okay. Sharmila is losing quite a bit of money actually on Dwarikesh. I mean, sugar stocks in general, Dwarikesh in particular. Any words of advice for him? If he must move, where should it be?
Well, I would suggest he move largely because I think sugar being most commodities operate in cycles, and I think for sugar the cycle has turned, which means that it could be a while before you could see this kind of a price again. So unless you have that patience to ride it out for 7-8 years, I would suggest that you sell the stock and get into a sector or or some other commodity which has better prospects from here on. So I think to be safe, you should, I think, completely move out of commodities as a sector and maybe look at consumption as a space. So invest in some FMCG company or thereof where you know that year on year there is going to be some improvement in sales and numbers.
All right, get out of a cyclical sector and get into FMCG. Rajat, would you concur with that view? Sugar stocks, yes, they do move in a cycle, but charts-wise, do you see any bottom in place for Dwarikesh Sugar? And in case he wishes to hold on for the up move of this cycle, should he average at any level?
Well, Mangalam, sugar stocks are generally in a very bad shape, and especially Dwarikesh. And Dwarikesh, but for him, what I would suggest is that he should put a stop loss below 15 and hold on for at least a bounce back. Some more money if he can get. Like for instance, I'm looking at a pullback rally anytime, which could take it to 20-21 kind of levels. If that were to happen, at least he could get a bit more money. But one thing, why I'm suggesting him to hold on, because on oscillator charts, it is showing signs that further significant downside from here is not visible. Secondly, there are positive divergences to suggest that at least a pullback rally could be round the corner. So put a stop loss below 15 and hold on. If you could get 21, 22, great, that would be fine, and that time definitely do seek an exit.
Okay, all right, Raja, thanks a lot for that. Now we have Dharmesh M writing to us from Pune with a query. Wants to buy 100 shares in IndusInd Bank, wants to know the right time to enter the market. Sharmila, IndusInd Bank, do you think they came out with their numbers, no problems, they're in line? The only problem was perhaps the interest rate scenario is rising and that could affect their net interest margins. But apart from that, retail loan growth of 28-30%, corporate loan growth, do you think it's a good time?
Well, honestly, as you said, the numbers were completely in line. And what we have seen is that some of these newer sort of private banks have had it good, really. And their numbers have supported them. But I think they're also getting a bit of a premium valuation because of that. Because, you sort of, market has recognized that these are the banks that are going to deliver in terms of numbers. So what I would suggest is, yes, you can invest in IndusInd Bank, but try and buy the, the stock on dips. So rather than investing your entire amount together, just wait and see. Maybe this result, little bit sell-off that you're seeing could deepen, and then buy a little then and wait for a fall and buy. But yes, largely, broadly speaking, it is a stock you can buy.
All right, up next, IK has written to us from Bengaluru. He says he holds 100 shares of Lupin, which he has bought at 863 rupees. He's been holding on for the last 7 months. Long-term investor wants to know what he should do. Rajat, once again, here's somebody who's making a bit of money, but, pharma stocks, though they've been buzzing, all of these concerns from the US have continued to remain an overhang. Is there hope for him, technically speaking? What are the levels that you see from here?
Personally, I would say that he should continue to hold on. My reason for saying so is that Lupin is clearly showing signs of bottoming out, and it is already above its 200-day moving average level, which is just below the 900 mark. As at yesterday's close, it was at 891. So one can use that as a stop loss. But if I were in his shoes, what I would do is this: that suppose if there were to be a dip below that 200-day moving average, around 850, 860 levels, I would definitely add more. add more and continue to hold it, because my feeling is that the kind of chart pattern and the kind of things that are being shown through trading patterns, it suggests that it could easily go up to 1,050, 1,100 over the next 3 to 6 months. So why not hold it? And for a long-term investor, this is a great buying opportunity for Lupin. Even I'm actually waiting for the first quarter results. After that, if there were to be any dip, definitely I would buy.
All right, hold stocks at current levels, and if it comes to 850, go ahead and average. With that, we go to Srinivasan K calling us from Chennai with a query. Srinivasan, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, Srinivasan, go ahead.
Sir, I'm Gitanjali, 2000 shares at an average price of 120 rupees.
Well,
what will be the future of this? What will be the future of this? What will be next? I'm holding 2000 shares.
Right, I understand.
At an average of 120 rupees.
You know, we feel sorry for your loss, and it's a big amount that you're losing, and in a company that out of nowhere, you know, we saw a large amount of losses out there. Gitanjali Gems. Sharmila, what advice does one give to a person who's lost practically everything in the one company that they've invested in?
As you say, it's a very difficult sort of spot to be in, and especially because, you know, once a stock goes below 10 rupees, it becomes typically what, you know, we call a penny stock, and it's very difficult to give even fundamental advice on such a stock, because obviously it means that there are reasons other than pure fundamental reasons that are plaguing the stock, you know. So something has gone wrong terribly somewhere. So I think that it might really be best to take you know, technical advice and see if you can get some kind of a bounce back and then sell on the bounce. But really speaking, I don't think that you have any option left but to sell the stock.
But for retail investors, just a question, you know, who get into stocks like this and get stuck on the lower side, there is no exit as well, given the fact that there is consistent lower circuits on that. What does one do?
There's really very little you can do, because, you know, if you are a long-term investor, then you haven't really bought it to sell it at a certain level. Right. So you're not looking that, oh, if it goes below 100 rupees, I'm going to exit the stock. So if it goes below 100 rupees, you think, okay, the earnings will recover or anything, something like that. But unfortunately, as I said, that once it goes below 10 rupees, it becomes very difficult to even take a fundamental view, because, you know, as I said, something has gone wrong, which is outside the obvious reasons of, you know, earnings and, you know, bad cycle for the business, etc. So something has gone wrong terribly somewhere. So which is why I'm saying the best you can hope for is a pullback. If there is any level the stock bounces back from, which is advice maybe we can take from Rajat.
Rajat?
The elusive pullback may not be available, but what I feel is that Srinivasan probably might hold it for eternity, because in that case, suppose if there were to be a bounce back or there were to be some kind of a recovery, then something might happen, thing of that kind. But generally those things do not happen. So it's up to him. If I were in his shoes, I would have moved out of the stock. Why I particularly tell you, he would be losing money to the tune of 2,40,000. And suppose if he were to hold on and this stock gets delisted, then he would have to remat it and get it out of his DP, which would also amounting to extra cost. So why bear that extra cost? If you can, just exit the stock.
All right, sympathies with you, Srinivasan. It's a bad mistake that he's made, lost about 2.5 lakh rupees. With that, Rajat's advice is just salvage whatever little you have, 3.6 rupees, and get out of this stock. With that, we'll take a short break, come back, focus on some more stock queries when we return.
Well, there's just a slight nick coming into the index now. So the Nifty at this point, it's just lost a little bit from the top. The Sensex is still holding on with a gain of about 250 odd points. The mid-cap index, this is where you can see a bit of deceleration. It's still up about 0.5%, 100 points going over there, but just a tiny bit of a selling coming through. Look at some of the stocks. So Shriram Transport has had a good day. It's still holding on with quite a bit in terms of gains. In fact, it's one of the big gainers today. And other other than that, from outside of the index, look at something like a Havells. That has actually spiked up. It's up 4% now. Godfrey Phillips is another one that's looking to head higher. We'll wrap up then on your stocks. Let's thank our two experts, Sharmila and Rajat, for answering all the various queries. And a note to our viewers, log on to cnbctv18.com, mail us your queries, and we'll try and get them answered by our experts. Stay tuned. The last hour of trade coming up with closing bell.